Just give me 1 second so I can turn it down on YouTube. And then one more thing. Okay. All right. So let's start. And just taking a couple of big deep breaths. Oh, maybe a little shake. Letting go of whatever came before this moment, whatever led into this moment. So I'm going to sit on my ball, which I can bounce on here. That's one of the extra bonuses of these physio balls, is that they already have movement in them. So filling up, letting go, a shake, a wiggle, letting your body free some of the excess energy that might be kind of stuck in there. So I talk about shaking as something that can both give you energy, but also release energy. And it's like, you're going to release what's blocked, but you're going to make space for the flow to give you more energy. Oh, there we go. There's Michael. So maybe just a little bit more shaking, bouncing. It could be standing, it could be seated, it could be any way. Let's actually start with this breath. It's and maybe standing is the best way to do it. I'm going to stand my ball, but standing is a good way. This breath is called the WHO breath, and it's a continuum breath. And it's like you're kind of like a little monkey bouncing around with a and you can either just have it aspirate, or you can use your vocal cords, but you're freeing it up and letting your body move into different parts around different areas around your body, different space. So you're reaching into different spaces. And like on the ball, it becomes very fun. It's bouncy. It becomes ridiculous. So that always frees up my sense of humor. So freeing up, letting go, puffing and puffing. I'm going to stand, since you may not have a thing. And shake it out, letting anything that's in your body that needs to release, just giving it a minute to offload. And really try to shift your patterning in your shaking as well. So if you have a habit of like, I just sort of shake like this and bounce, try something very different. See if you can change the space you're shaking in and change it all. Letting it go, letting it move. Just another minute, maybe. Letting go of whatever. Take your breathing less seriously. Take the way you look less seriously. Take the way you feel less seriously. I don't know if that makes any sense, but letting go, softening, and letting it just come in. You can keep unwinding. Releasing and softening. Letting your tantrum play out. The happy tantrum. Happy dance, happy tantrum. Which, if we had some music, if we were like really dancing to music, this could be a great move, but I'm not going to put music on yet. Coming in whenever you're ready, or staying standing, and just feeling into the energetic flow in your body now. Yeah, I feel like I've just been shaken up, but in a good way, not in a bad way. So I feel that energetic fluidity. I've just been watching all these videos on energy and how it channels. Like, I'm so curious about these different flows and energy. Like, how do we get the energy from the sun? And so like, so many of the ways that we've thought it's working aren't quite right. And that still don't totally understand how it's working, how these connections are made. But let's just tune into the energy of our body. The breath flow, the awareness flow. And it's a balance of these electromagnetic and electric and magnetic fields. Electromagnetic, right? That create these weaving in of energy flows. So thinking of how these weavings of energy propel us in our life, propelling forward. When things meet, when they shift, the magnetic field, the energetic field coming together to move energy. Just that idea alone. And then also, I want to think really taking in the energy of the sun, right? We live on a planet that sees the sun and is very intricately interwoven with the sun. Like we need the sun. So how do we receive that? I was out walking today, receiving the sun, receiving the air, receiving nature. But even in my house, I can be having the sun come in the windows. And then also feeling like the warmth of your body, the warmth of your life energy. So maybe hand on belly, hand on heart. Feeling into the way that you know that you're alive. How do you feel yourself to know you're alive? We keep watching all of these old Twilight Zones, and it's these people, and they're having this experience, and at the end, they realize they're not alive anymore. So, how do we know we're alive? We're having the experience. How do we know we're still here? How do we feel into that life energy? And so within my body, I can feel different vibrational patterns, different growing and shrinking. Let's just invite the idea that in this session, everything that we're going to do, we are doing in alignment with our own highest self, with our own highest good, which is then in alignment with the highest good of all, of the great all of the planet. It's inclusive. So tuning into that level of energy where, oh, it's all working together. It's all in alignment. Just inviting it in as a concept and maybe as a sensation in your experience of being. And as I come into my body, I can sort of feel these waves of awareness, or I don't even know what the waves are. The awareness is there, but I experience this like pulling back and coming in and a sort of wave like sensation. So inviting ourselves into ourselves. In the spirit of receiving whatever we need to receive in the next little while, open to receiving. Maybe it's information on a physical level, or maybe on a spiritual level, maybe on a mental level. All the levels are welcome. We're not cutting anything out. It's all here. And I'm going to take it down to the floor and come in for a real landing. So you can do this seated in your bed, any way that feels good to you. But I'm feeling the real need to roll around. So I'm coming down onto the floor. Also just kind of impressed that we're all sort of matching in the Zoom room. We're all wearing reds and pinks and burgundies. So coming in for a landing in whatever way that means to you, whether it's seated, laying down. Since I shook out, it has warmed my body up. I was a little cold beforehand. So again, feeling that flow of warmth is another way of tuning into the flow of the energy in my body. And as you start to land, tune into the flow of your breath, letting the air come in, letting the air release, coming in and going out. Filling up and letting go. letting the weight of your body drop toward the floor or towards the ground, towards the earth, and allowing any kind of movement that feels good in your body to come online. Inviting yourself to go into this exploration with a sense of curiosity and not coming in with everything you know. Maybe leaving a lot of the stuff that you know at the door so that you can come into what's actually happening right now. Like, if I think I know how I'm going to move, I can sort of change it and come into something that's different than what might have been in the predictive process of my brain. Like, oh, I come in and I move like this and this happens. Letting go of the plan and letting go of the idea to allow the flow of the moment to really step into being, to really step into being in the flow of the moment with the capacity to adjust to each little sensation that you're feeling. And since we've tuned a little bit to the breath flow, let's also tune to the fluid flow in our body so that as we move, it's like we're pouring ourselves around. Breath flow coming and going, receiving the breath and releasing the breath, as well as inviting in micro movement or macro movement so that the fluid in your body is relating to the earth or giving you the information about your relationship to the earth as you move, right? As we pour ourselves around, even in the tiniest way, just feeling our tissue and the fluids in our tissue, the fibers and the fluids relating to gravity through the fluidity in our body and through the density in our body, and relating to levity and lightness through the breath in our body. So there's this relationship down to the earth and then up towards the heavens. Like, we don't just flatten out and pool into a puddle on the ground. There's spaciousness within our tissues. The emergent shape of our body is continually reforming and moving into each moment. Yeah, that was the emergent shape, was a suggestion from one of the people who follows the channel. And I was struggling with the idea of structure and architecture because we are living in organic, and structure and architecture sounds kind of still and staid. So the moving, fluid, emergent shapes that your body is making, that you are making with your body as you move, as you breathe, as you relate to the ground, to the gravitational pull, and also to the sky, to the heavens, to the lightness. The rebound from the earth. Inviting your own nervous system to start to release and explore in novel ways. So, how do we achieve novel ways? By shifting the pattern. When we think we know we're going one way, try going somewhere else. Shift from resisting into releasing or softening, or shift from softening into resisting, right? Push, add some push, add some pull. So we're not saying take all tension out of your body at all times. We're allowing tension flows to move through us in the interest of exploring. On an autonomic level, all sorts of tension flows are happening within our heartbeat, our digestion, even our breath. So allowing these tension flows in our movement. And as we're moving, maybe we become aware of something that feels a little stuck or old. If that's the case, feel free to move into something that also feels delicious and new. So old patterning may be with us, or the patterns that we've lived with for our whole life. It's not like we want them all to just dissolve and melt away. They have served us. So we want to honor the patterns that are there, that are really serving us, working with us. But we also want to allow for new patterning to emerge. Yeah, and I have this physio ball under my legs that just called to me. Feel free to use the space around you, to use the floor, the walls, the furniture as a partner in your exploration. Giving your body new information. Inviting yourself to slow down and to come in. Into the freedom of being connected to flow. And we may have bound flows that are really contained and specific, but we also want to find some free flows where it's more sort of childlike and immature, exploratory. The flows of uncertainty, the flows of not knowing, like the flows of curiosity. And you can try changing your relationship to gravity, like rolling this way or that way, or coming into a different position. And seeing what changes. How does it change? Just had an interesting image, imagining like that the inside of your experience is like a big 3D film that has smell-o-rama and touch-o-rama, right? I don't know why the movie image came in, but what if it was this three-dimensional experience of being? The VR of being. However, it is the experience. If you were mapping your experience, which sensations, which body parts, which movements would you map? For me, so much of it is sort of ineffable, and we don't really have the greatest words for describing embodied experience or even just embodiment. So we have to make up our own language through sensation and experience. And the language might not be a verbal language. Maybe it's an energetic language, this language of sensation, or a language of movement, of flow. Allowing ourselves to tune to the realness of our physical embodied sensation, right? To the depth and detail, inviting our awareness into all of this experience on a physical, sensorial level. And maybe that's a lot. So it might be just, maybe it's just like one part of your body. Oh, I can really pay attention to my hand right now. Or I can really pay attention to my back or the floor underneath me. So it might just be one area that's just becoming very intimate in your experience. And it may be shifting quickly from one thing to another, or it may really hang out in one space for a while or in one sensation. Anything that's coming up is just what's coming up. It's allowed. Yeah, how do you know what's going on in your body? And I think the answer is by going in there and feeling into it. Allowing, maybe in your life you haven't been allowed to feel things in your body, or the culture, the family, the politics, something has shut you down, the trauma. So, what if we invite ourselves in to really feel, to really experience this existence from this embodied level? Here I am in this participatory biomorphic experience of being. And everything that shows up in that experience is allowed because it's there. So we allow what's there. I'm going to add music and just give us a chance to play with some of these concepts or anything that's going on at all. You can completely just dive into the experience without the need to hold on to any thoughts about it. Just let it happen. Ambient fields, supporting our journey. Experiencing the ongoingness of existing, right? The ongoingness of life, the presence of being in the moment, being in this moment, in this body, with everything that's going on. Yeah, offering loving kindness to your own experience of being, compassion and empathy for everything that came before and for everything that's going on now, and even for everything that is to come. Allowing the what is to be the what is without fighting against it on this body level. Doesn't mean don't take action in the world or don't have boundaries or anything like that. It just means we're here. Here we are. Can you be softer and kinder and gentler to your own selves, to your own heart, to your own experience? Breathing into the spaciousness of being. Allowing each moment to unfold without trying to force it into being something totally different. allowing any crusty old ways of being to just break off and melt away. Any kind of armoring against life that you're holding in your body that would serve you to release, just invite it to soften and melt. Inviting the wisdom of your own body to unfold in ways that support your being in the most loving manner possible. And also knowing that you have the power to, if anything is going too quickly for you, or if kriyas are coming up or anything like that, ultimately knowing that you have the power to stop them. It's not that the body suddenly takes off and it's all run off down the garden path. You're always there with your body, as your body, with all the capacity to choose whatever you need to choose at any time. I'm not quite ready to let go of this thing that I'm holding on to. Not quite ready. And I am able to release these patterns without any massive seismic shifts in my body. My body can intelligently release and shift and adopt more healthy patterning. Just inviting in that intention and idea if it feels right. And a lot of this work is really below the sort of conscious mind level. So don't feel like you need to know really what's going on either. You can just allow, invite and allow these fluids to flow in your body, the breath, the liquids, the electrical currents, the energy. it may be that creativity and thoughts come up while you're in these experiences. You can always write them down. Don't feel like you have to erase that part. That can be there too. Sometimes I have paper and pen or drawing things nearby when I'm diving into the moment of awareness. Allowing insight to come to you, not reaching for it, just allowing it to arrive whenever it does. Allowing your body to process by down regulating and being in these softer spaces. Process all the things or whatever needs to process. Breathe that out and give us a couple of minutes to hang out in our experience, processing the processing. Letting your souls just drop down. Without the need to do anything. Although if movement's happening, if various flows are working through you, allow that to happen. Give your bodies a chance to come into coherence with ourselves and ourselves coming together. If anybody, I say there's a person watching, bravo. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to